Hello and welcome back to My Own Worst Enemy. Time to start another turn of global war. We are getting ready to start turn number 3. If you remember from last time, the Western Front was attacked all the way down to the last distraction here. The last prop unit is Paris itself. So the Germans are on the verge of taking Paris. And when they do, I think bad stuff is probably going to happen. So let's go ahead. I will grab the sequence of play. And we start with the chit draw phase. This is our last predetermined chit. Pretty sure France is going to fall. So 7A and D, which I believe was the other active front. So let's go ahead and put that over here. And I already see that there is. So it's now late 1940. I see a US election and victory at sea. So we're going to probably get into those here pretty darn quick. So we've got the chit on the calendar. We're going to deploy any units from the calendar. Again, if there were any units that were scheduled to come in on a certain date, this is when we would deal with those. We have none. Play calendar events. I don't think there were any on this. Let me take a quick look. Again, there's a circle with a letter in it, but those aren't used quite yet. And I haven't checked yet to see if the advanced rules for this are posted yet on White Dog Games. Probably need to do that because I think it's going to add some more to this game, make it even more fun. Play chit-based events. Again, there were none of those. Evening Telegraph, well, we have that, so let's do it. Evening Telegraph, and it is turn 3. We'll roll a D6 and add 3 to that. See what we get. Well, 6 plus 3 is 9, so it looks like we're going to get our first military events and our, looks like commandos as well, so we get to see it all here. So what I will do is grab the rule book, because we want to step through this as they appear. Looks like the first military event is Golland, so let's see what that means. Actually, I don't think it means anything yet. I think that's going to affect us when we actually get into combat, perhaps, but let's take a look and verify that. So military events, for that we want to turn to 9.2, which would be the attack phase for the UN. So 9.2, the die roll modifiers. Do they go into military events? So military events, DRMs, and UN attacks. So it's a die roll modifier. In here, red events, so that is -1 DRM that hurts your efforts to attack in certain areas. Now, the military events are up here, so there we go. -1 DRM from all attacks on airplanes on front A. Well, that's even, even better for us, right? That's not good at all. So I'm going to take the military event marker and we're going to place it up here to show that this is, in fact, the current military event that's in effect, which that's going to be bad for the Western Front, unfortunately for us. So the next thing on here, Italy, Syria, and Iraq, political events. So let's see what that's going to mean. And we will take these in order. So Italy says, what does Italy say? Mussolini stands on his balcony and declares war on the UN. Italy joins the Axis. Remove the Italy neutral tile from front C. So that's going to make Italy now in the war. That's an active med front. So we're going to take this. I'm going to look on the back of this to see what's back there. Japanese occupied. So I'm going to take that marker off as instructed. Front C is now active. We've removed the neutral tile. The war is on in Libya and Egypt. Deploy the AOI army in Italian East Africa. So the AOI army is probably over here. And it is. And that's going to go into, I think it said East Africa, Italian East Africa. So Italian East Africa is here. So we have deployed that, and it's -1 DRM, hurts you on fronts C and E. So C and E. Put Yugoslavia prop army in the Balkans. So Yugoslavia prop army. I think Yugoslavia was up here. I think this is it, actually. Yugoslavia YU. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the Yugoslavia marker. So where does it say to place that? Balkans is what I said. And the Balkans ought to be up, right here they are. So let's place that on its Yugoslavia side, I believe. That distracts the Axis starting this turn. So that's good. A little bit of good news for us. Unfortunately, though, that was just the that was just the Italy portion of political events. Now we move on to Iraq. The first time this is rolled, put the Iraq army on its Iraq side in the Near East. Iraq army ought to be down here, I think. Yeah. the Iraq Army. I may have to flip these. There's IR, so I'm going to say that's the Iraq Army. And it's, what does it say to do with that? Put it in the Near East, and it just says that the next time it's rolled, we're going to flip it to its German side. So that's going to go to the Near East. So let's take a look at that German side. Well, I'm just going to show this to you while I'm looking at it. So this is the actual, let me see if I can get that to focus. This is what I'm deploying now, and this is what the German side would look like. So I'm going to put this down in the Near East as instructed. Going to have a lot of things to watch for as I play through this game. I got to remember that those are there, and I'm bad about forgetting that, and I'm sure I'll be reminded if I forget. And finally, we have Syria, and flip the Vichy army in Syria to its German side. So looking at the map, I don't think that unit is out yet. I don't think that has come out yet. So we'll take a quick look here, but I'm pretty sure that, yeah, there's the Syria marker, and there's its German side. So I guess we do not deal with that yet. And remember, these events, they happen every time you roll them. So we have to consider that that's something that's going to happen to us in the future. Or is that backwards? I think star is the event occurs every time it is rolled, not just once. We didn't roll, or we rolled that event. If we roll it again, can it still happen? So that's a question I would have to ask. Since there's not an asterisk after Italy, Iraq, and Syria. They only appear on the political events once. If I roll this again, we know that Italy and Iraq have happened, but the Syria event did not happen. Does that hold over until it happens, or do we just, that's never a possibility again? That's one question I need answered. Moving along, so we do have commandos this time. Scorzini Front B, so let's take a look at that. 6.1.3 Axis Commandos. A commando result can deploy either the German swashbuckler Otto Scorzini or the elite Japanese dude to foil my plans. This result tells you which commando to deploy on which front. The first time a commando is rolled, it goes on the map as directed. So let's do that. Front B, and where is our commando? He's over here. Very ominous looking black marker, and that's going to go into front B. And reading further along here, we have placed on the map every subsequent time a commando is rolled. Only deploy the commando if it is face up on the designated side when rolled. Otherwise, it is a no event. All right, well, we're okay there. And we're okay now with the evening telegraph phase of the sequence of play here. And so now we will go to the dread D Axis powers attack phase. So let's do that. We'll get our counter out again because there are 7 attacks we've got to suffer. This is going to be bad. I only have $3 in the bank. It's going to be 2 to try to save Paris, and that's going to leave me no money. If I can only do it once because I only have $3, but that'll leave me $1, and I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not later. It probably will be. Well, let's go ahead and get this started. So the way we do this is the same as always. We grab the strongest army, and it's going to be the first one to attack. I'll put it up in this corner to show it's attacking so there's no confusion. France is at a 5, and if I prop up France, I've got to pay $2, and they'll have to roll greater than a 5 to get in there. Now, this is where playing the game more before I did this playthrough would have helped tremendously, because it's, do I spend the money now and try to prop up France? The reason I can think of why, I'm pretty sure France is falling, but the reason why I would want to prop it up now is because it's going to keep more of those armies off of the Western Front. So in other words, if I can stop this first attack, yeah, I'm going to spend $2, but if I stop it, that unit's going to have to attack again or come in again and keep potentially an army off of the board. But in this case, with 7 attacks I've got to suffer, I don't know if it makes any sense. I mean, it may, just to keep the siege marker out of there, and that's certainly what, I'm not the siege marker, but the blitz marker. That's certainly something you want to do. So I think I am going to spend the $2. Now, Ben and Wes are probably cringing right now at what I'm doing here, but I'm going to spend the $2, and I'm going to prop up France for this first attack from this unit. So they're going to have to roll higher than a 5 to come in. So basically, they're going to have to roll a 6 to deploy. They don't. They roll they rolled 3, so that's good. So that prevented that first attack. Well, not prevented it, but it held off that first attack. So that was 1 attack. Okay, so our second attack, unfortunately, is going to succeed because I have no more money. I cannot prop up Paris. So Paris is going to fall. So let's grab the rule book here. And this is 7.3.1.1, the fall of France. When the French Paris army is eliminated, France has fallen. So we're going to discard the Paris army here. So that's gone. And then it says we are going to deploy Goring capital on front A. And that's going to make this now an active front, just a regular old active front. So there's Goring. Continue to read along here. So this unit really should be deployed as well because it's the one that successfully attacked Paris, so it's in there. Fall of France activates Fascist Italy, front C. See Italy for the procedure. Well, we've already done that via the political event from the or not from the calendar, but from the Evening Telegraph. So we've already done that. The Vichy colonies deploy. Here we go. So the Vichy Syrian army is going to come out now in the Near East. So let's grab those. Let's grab these here and see what we've got. So Syria will now come out, and I think it said Near East. Yeah, Near East. So that's going to go in here with this Iraq army. I'm going to put it so that I can still read that that's the Near East box. And then this Madagascar, that's what it is. All right, so Madagascar, that's down here. And then where else? So that's those two. I guess these do not come out yet. So let's put those back. Hang on just for a second. Keep reading. They probably do come out. And it's telling us that after the fall of France, the Germans are cleared to start Operation Barbarossa on a future turn. Now, I believe that can happen turn 4 or later, 534. Just a quick look at 534. If France has fallen when this occurs on turn 4, so I'll read that again later, but I don't think it's going to mean anything happens immediately here. 5, flip the French convoy tile to its German U-boat side and place it on the next calendar turn. Well, I don't like that one because I really need money, and that's going to prevent that. So we're going to flip the French convoy tile will flip to the U-boats, and we will put that on the next calendar turn. So that's a case of where we'll have a unit on the map that will deploy when we hit turn number 4. Flip the useless British Chamberlain leader to his more useful Churchill side. So Chamberlain, we've had Chamberlain now trying to be all peaceful like, and now we have Winston himself is coming in. So they don't piss off Winston. They've done that now. And let's see, I think, what else do we have here? Distraction in the Balkans. I think this is just talking about Axis will be distracted from front B with their efforts to cross. So it's just a distraction for the Axis, I believe is what it's saying. I think we might be good with everything that we had to do for the fall of France. And now one thing that's missing, another rules question here that I don't see written out clearly, at least in a way that I can understand it. That was, we had one attack or was that the second attack? Either way, we have more attacks to resolve. It was the second attack because I paid for the first attack. It prevented it. The second attack came in and took it. So we still have 5 more attacks, but yet France has fallen. So my question would be, do the next 5 tiles deploy after we went through all the France falls stuff? And I don't see, let me look at the sequence of play. I don't think it's going to mention it. And let me look at the France falls procedures again. I don't know if these armies get deployed now or not, or if they're just still sitting there until the next time we go around. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to assume that the attacks continue. It's just that France fell. We went through the procedure for the fall of France. We go back now to the attacks that were happening. If that's not right, let me know. What I'm going to do is I'll put these 2 units were the ones that were out at the fall of France. The next ones that come in are the ones after the fall of France. So let me know if I shouldn't deploy those. I'll put them back before the start of the next turn. But I think I'm going to have to continue suffering the rest of these attacks. So attack number 3 would be this unit deploying. Attack number 4 would be this unit deploying. Attack number 5 would be this unit deploying. And attack number 6 would be the Blitz marker coming out. So that's pretty scary if that's the way that's supposed to work. Let me know. Again, like I said in the comments, there is no 7th attack because there's no more units in the reserves. Again, let me know if I deploy those or not after the fall of France. And if I don't, then I can just grab those 4 and put them back in there in the the reserve. But if we do have to suffer through this, then that's going to be bad. And actually, now that I think about it, I put the blitz marker out, so I don't think I can just, we can pause this until the next turn. I think I need to check for defeat right now. And so this could be bad. And again, it's not anything that we couldn't recover from. And like I said, I may not play this entire game anyway. I feel bad for kind of going through it, but it's also good. It is a good learning session for everybody for me to sit here and go through this, even if we do lose it right now. So yeah, I do have to check when the blitz tile comes out. We have to go to 14.2 United Nations defeat. There can never be more than 5 Axis armies on a front. Never count siegers and panzers. Don't worry about that. If a 6th army is ordered to attack, it is placed on the front instead. The UN are now in danger of total defeat. Roll 2 dice, no DRMs. If the total is higher than the number of cities in the high morale box, the defeat succeeds. Otherwise, it fizzles. So we have, here's our high morale, and it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 in there, so we'd have to roll a 12, which we can certainly do. Let's roll those 2 dice. If I roll a 12 here, it's game over. Now, let's see what we get. Okay, we don't, so that's good. So this is what is called a fizzle, and we will look at that. So defeat succeeds, no. If the defeat fizzles, remove the blitz tile back to the reserves. Okay, so that's good. We're going to put that back. And also remove any panzer from the front if present. It's not. The 5 Axis armies are still a threat. So when you leave all 5 of those in there, and again, like I said, that's bad. I only have $1 left, which I am going to need. In addition, move 1 appropriate city from the high morale box to the low morale box. So 1 city doesn't say, there's probably a logic into which cities I want to move to, and I haven't played enough to know what that is. So I'm just going to grab this first one, and it's going to go into the low morale box. But gain 1 immediate UN attack on that front free of charge. You can use this attack versus a face-up siege. So I guess I get 1 immediate attack right now free of charge. And I'm going to assume that's what that word immediate says. So let's do that. So I'm going to attack let's attack this 2 unit because we basically have to roll, not basically, we have to roll a 2, higher than a 2 for it to get out of there, and we want it out of there. Here's our free attack. We roll a 3, so that is out. So that's good. We might have held on there in the Western Front, hopefully. And that is it for, let's see, successive blitzes. This is if we had a blitz occur right after we had a blitz, but we don't have that to worry about. Or do we? Wait a minute here. So we had 7 attacks. Should I now conduct 1 more attack? Let me see where I am in the sequence of play here. I don't want to mess this up either. So basically we deployed the markers. The blitz came out. That was 6. And then I went through the blitz procedure. And so I think what happens is now I get that 7th attack. And again, let me know in the comments down below if I'm doing this right or wrong. This would be the 7th attack, and that would place this back out after we went through that first blitz attack or blitz phase and moved our cities around. Got that off the board, but I think to resolve this 7th attack, he's going to come right back out. Now I think we're good with the Axis attacks phase. If not, let me know all the mistakes I made down below. So it says here, resolve distractions, resolve blitz attacks, deploy panzer armies. I don't have to worry about that. Burma Road status, it's still open. And now we go into the economic warfare phase. And you will remember that this is where we get to place our convoys, and the U-boats will come out after us. Now we did manage to sink 1 of the U-boats last turn, so we only have 1 to worry about. I only have 2 convoys again, and I really need money, and I'm going to do the obvious choice, and that's to maximize this, hopefully. 1 in 3 and 1 in 4. And we do have 1 U-boat, so we go to the 1 U-boat column, and we're going to roll 2 dice and see what the result is. So let's do that. We roll an 11, so an 11 with 1 is a 2A result. That's great for us. That's up here. So he's going to go into 2A. I may have just gotten really lucky there. So the U-boats are out. Now we calculate our economic haul, and it's going to be good because I've got a convoy in 3 and 4. That's going to be 7, and 7 plus 1 is 8. I feel a little bit better now that I've got $8 in my account. Okay, that was the economic haul. There's no U-boat conflicts to worry about. And then there is the presidential bonus. Let me go back to the book again. I don't think that this is going to do us much good here. So this was Well, Churchill's out, so we're going to have to check that out. Remember, Roosevelt is useless until Pearl Harbor, but Churchill is now out. So let's take a look at Churchill. Using Churchill, one of 4 different raids, and it tells us how to conduct the raid. We can do a British commando raid. Select any army, panzer, or siege on the globe, but not a capital. If Churchill succeeds, flip or remove the target. What if he fails? Let's see if there's a failure. Basically, if he fails, he's going to go on the calendar. It may be kind of silly not to use him here. Raid on sink the Bismarck. Bismarck isn't out. Caucus diplomacy. There's no caucus crisis. So basically, the one thing we could use him for is this British commando raid. Select an army, panzer, or siege on the globe. Well, we have all these armies now on the Western Front. And let's see, what do we need to succeed? We roll 1 die. It succeeds on a 2, 3, 4, or 5, and it fails on a 1 or a 6. If it's a 6, it was a fiasco. In addition, whatever the die roll, remove Churchill to the calendar for the number of turns rolled. So if we do this and we are successful, it's going to take Churchill out of play based on what we roll. Yeah, I think we're going to do this. So I'm going to use Churchill. We are going to roll this and see what we get. Now, really, ideally, I'd like to see a 2 here. That's probably rolling low is good if anything above a 1. So let's see. We're going to use Winston. And we roll a 4, it's good and bad, so it's successful. Just select any target army. So it would be silly not to remove the 5 with Winston. So we have successfully used Winston to knock an army out of the Western Front, but now Winston's going to have to go 4 turns out. So we're going to put him here. And actually, I don't know why I'm putting him on the omnibus tracker marker. I should put him on the calendar. So we're in turn 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's going to come out again on turn 7. Which sucks, but it got an army out of the West Front. So that is good. What else? So now we Stalin. So we could use Stalin to shock an army. You can use Stalin to get a free 2-die shock attack against any Axis army on front B. Well, this is back to front B. It's active now. There's a commando there. And again, I don't think I'm going to use Stalin this turn. And he's on his use side, but I didn't use him. So let's put him back to his Stalin side. Although, wait a second here, because things have changed. Some of the things we can do is Stalin. And Wes made a point that I probably should have used Stalin the last turn because he comes right back out the next turn. So he's not like Churchill where you roll and he comes out later, but he's going to come out the next turn. But front B is now active. So let's take a look at this again. And honestly, now that front B is active, let's see. We can also raise our cannon meat up by 1. Remember, that's a free attack for us, basically. We could still do the shock attack. Does that work against commandos? Great Patriotic, where front B is active, you can use Stalin to move 1 face-up Soviet city from low morale to high morale. Now, this is where I just said there's probably some logic in what you move into the low morale box, and I just grabbed one and stuck it in there. If I had moved a Soviet city in there, then I could have moved it right back to high morale. That kind of sucks. I'm going to use Stalin, and we're going to raise the cannon meat marker up to 9. So now Stalin is going to come out next turn along with those U-boats. So we're going to stack him there. That is it for using Stalin. And then back to the sequence of play. We have used Stalin, cash in Lend-Lease. So Lend-Lease. And again, this says this could risk Roosevelt. Now, when does that end? 8-10-1. Risking Roosevelt each time you cash in Lend-Lease tile before he's reelected on turn 3. Well, I guess this election must occur later on. I'm not gonna use any Lend-Lease yet. I still don't want to risk Roosevelt. So that is going to end our economic warfare phase, and now we will go into the UN attack phase. And if you remember, this is where we spend money to attack any active front. We have 4 active fronts now, so all 3 of these fronts are active, and D is still active. So we can, and the ones that are threatened now, so we've got 4 here, and then 3 in front C. So those need to be whittled down a little bit, if at all possible. And at the same time, I want to try to maintain some funding for the next turn. So let's start our attacks with the West Front first. And I will grab my D6 here, and let's attack this first attack. I will spend let's see something. Yeah, let's spend $1. So that'll take us down to 7. We need to roll higher than a 2 to take out this unit. And we do, so that's going to go back to the reserves. So I do still have the cannon meat marker, which I can attack the front B with, and it like money as well. So front B, you know, one thing I need to look at here. So I deployed this commando and it told me to put it in front B, but I think the commandos, if I remember correctly from reading the rule book way back when, that it actually, I think, has to go on top of an army or something like that. Let's see. We're going to back up here just a second for this commando. Axis commandos deploy on which front? The first time it is rolled goes on the map. We did that. Place a commando on any army of your choice, not a capital on the named front. If the only army there is a capital, the commando flips to its other side and stays in its box. So that does that mean I shouldn't even have deployed him? What's his other side say? Taishin Shuden. I don't know. So we're going to have to rely on the comment section again to save me here. So this did get deployed. There was only Berlin in there, so there was a capital, the only thing in there. So it says if the only army is a capital, the commando flips to its other side and stays in its box. What is its box? That's where it came from. Over here? Where were commandos? Yeah, down here. So I'm going to flip it and put it right back. So let me know if that's right. I don't think that should have gotten deployed. I think that's probably going to stay over here on its flipped side now. So going back to this, I have cannon meat I can spend, and I still have the made to China, which I can also use as attacks here. But as it stands now, I think I'm going to spend another $1 and attack this. We're going to take this down to 6, and I'm going to attack this other air unit here. So looking for higher than a 3. We get a 3, so that's unfortunate. That's going to remain there. Well, it's kind of sad that Berlin's sitting there wide open, but I can't attack it yet because there has to be, you have to have a pink tile out there and it has to be downfall or a nuke. So we're not there yet. $6 left, and I'm going to spend another $1 and attack this 3 again. And I'm going to roll a 3 again, so that's going to stay there. Let's launch one more attack. I'm going to spend another $1. Or do I want to spend another $1? I'm getting pretty low on dollars. I'm tempted to attack the Mediterranean front because there's a 2 sitting there. But again, I feel like money is going to be an issue. So, and I don't know how common it is to have 7 attacks. I'm hoping that's not too common. We will start drawing random chits out of the cup next turn. And I could also use my aid to China to attack the army that's in front D, and I think I can cash in the partisan to give me a +1 to the die roll, so it'd be a 3 or greater to take that out of there. I don't know if I want to do that or not. The cannon meat marker, I can't do really much with that, I don't think. I am going to spend one more $1. No, I'm not either. I'm going to keep the $1. We're going to keep our money. Probably not a smart move, but we're learning. So let's keep the $1 for now and go back to the sequence of play to see where we are. Still in the UN attack phase. So that's Marines, die roll modifiers, no panzers, no sieges, no downfall attacks, no A-bombs, no air superiority. Spend aid to China and cannon meat. And like I said, I don't really think there is. The only one I'd feel, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend any of that stuff yet. I feel like we're going to need that. Attack German surface raiders. We have none. Open the Burma Road. It's open. Gandhi's not out. Marianas campaign. And launch one partisan uprising. So launch the partisan uprising, 9.12. What was that? I think that's just adding the die roll modifier to a front. So 912, we'll double check it. During one ground attack each turn, you can cash in an existing partisan to get a plus die roll modifier equal to the number of Axis armies on its front. So we could attack here, take the partisan out. It would give us a +1. That's what I'd said earlier. So basically we'd have to get a roll of 3, or let's see, higher than a 4 with that die roll modifier to get that army out of there. So I don't think I want to do that yet. And actually, so this partisan sitting here is more effective as more armies come into a theater. So that's also important to remember. So now I'm wondering why I even put that in there that early. Maybe I should have done that. Okay, so what was the other thing it said? Marianas campaign 911. At any time, there's no Japanese 31 army on front F. So we're not concerned with that yet. Well, wait a minute here. So that's over here. That front's neutral, so I don't think that matters anyway. So that's going to take us to the turning the tide. And it just says during the UN attack phase, deploy the pink strategy tiles when possible. I don't think they're possible yet. I'm going to flip there and read it just real quick to make sure I have an understanding of what that is. Pink tiles will arrive on the map based on player actions, some of which are driven but not controlled by random events. And so we're not there yet. So let's continue on to the Pacific Naval Phase. No Pacific Naval Phase if Japan is neutral, so it is. And now we will go into the Industrial Phase. So this is where we build partisans if we choose to do so. I have the money to do it. I have partisans to do it. I mean, I could put a partisan in the Western Front, but is that smart? I could also put it down here in the Med Front. Again, is that smart right now? I don't know. I feel like I need money. I feel like I really need money. I am going to not build partisans. Malta is okay. Build convoys. I don't think there's any convoys I can build though, because there's nothing on the East Coast, and that's where they would have to be. Yeah, transfer one from the East Coast. So there's nothing we can build convoy-wise. Escort convoys. The dollar marker is not on its escort side. Okay, well, we can't do that then. So naval production, no, we're not there yet. We can't build over the hump. We built Rick's place already. We cannot build A-bombs. And check for undefeated commandos, 12.8. I don't think I did this right with this commando. We don't really have any commandos out there anyway. And what would that say for us? If a commando is on a front, flip it to its other side and return it to the commando's box. All right, so we don't need to worry about that. Now we go to the turn-end phase. Allied banking, basically we're carrying over $5. Cancel the military event. So this military event is going to come back out. And did I forget to? I think I did. I think I totally forgot about this military event up here. That the die roll modifier, +1 die roll modifier from all attacks on airplanes on front A. So I'm thinking that probably would have removed this unit because I rolled a 3 twice and there was a 3. So it would have been a +1. Or does that mean, no, see my eyes are bad at that distance. It's not a +1 die roll modifier, it's a -1 die roll modifier. So it wouldn't have mattered. That unit would have stayed out there anyway. It really would have made those 3s 2s. So whew, fortunately that worked out okay. I forgot that was up there, but that's again something I'm bad about doing. So we've removed our military event marker, naval reset. This is where I believe we bring the convoys back down to the available convoy boxes. All U-boats on the map return to the U-boats. So that's going to come into here, and then all the convoys are going to go to the convoy box. So that is the naval reset. There's no quit India, and that is the end of this turn. All right, so we are at the end of the turn. When we come back, we have some units that will come back onto the map, and we will be drawing random turn markers from the cup now. That's the first time we have done that. So the questions that I had, again, leave the answers below in the comments if you have them. I questioned, and I'm pretty sure that was correct the way I did this, where I had 7 attacks, and even after Paris fell, France fell, I still had to continue on those attacks to get all 7 resolved. The other question, of course, was this commando. I went to deploy him as instructed, but the only thing there was the capital. So it said to flip and return him back to his box. So I think I did that right. I think we're good. We had a city drop down to low morale. I have some money in the bank this time. I don't know if that was smart to keep that much money. I feel like it might have been, but I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played the game enough to know that yet. We're going to find out. So we will stop it here. As always, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you have not. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll know when the next video goes up, and you can see how we're doing as we slide slowly into chaos and ruin here in World War II. Very fun game so far. I'm enjoying it. It's a little more difficult to learn than some previous games from Ben and Wes, but it's not that much more difficult, honestly. The rule book I still have, I think, could have been a little clearer, but there's already some detailed sequence of plays up on Board Game Geek you can take a look at that will help you learn the game and walk you through it. People are very responsive to answering questions. Wes has been on Board Game Geek answering questions religiously, so that's good. And then Ben is also on Consim World. He's over there answering questions as well. So we will leave it here, and as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you back here next time.